Happy Information Wednesday, Chalyce McQueen here. It is literally raining as I'm filming this video. We are in the deep of monsoon season, and I happened to come across an article from 12 News about a local family that happened to have a disappointing outcome from an insurance claim regarding the recent monsoon storm, which prompted this conversation today. So first, I want to dissect what this article was about. With a recent monsoon storm, this family happened to have an influx of water, or we'll call it a flood, and they do have flood insurance, which is wonderful, which provides coverage for the dwelling itself. However, their particular policy did not have any content coverage, which means their personal property that was damaged does not have any coverage. Flood insurance, you do have the ability to add personal property. However, I can speak from experience. I personally live in a flood zone and I do carry flood insurance. And if I was to even remotely try to mirror my homeowners insurance coverage for personal property to my flood insurance, it would have been completely unaffordable. So for example, on my personal flood policy, I think I only have a minute amount of like $5,000 or $10,000 of personal property coverage. Because again, it's not affordable to have hundreds of thousands of dollars of personal property coverage that you would find on your homeowner's policy. So rule of thumb, if you live in a flood zone, you probably already carry flood insurance, especially if you have a mortgage, it's a requirement. But if you happen to live in an area where you happen to find when it rains, you have more of an influx of water or sitting water close to your dwelling, it may be a good opportunity to look at a flood insurance policy. Next, I want to talk about roof leaks. Of course, I've seen so many of these over the past month. We have had a crazy monsoon season so far with an influx of water and wind and everything coming our way, even some hail. So what your insurance policy says, and this is across the board how insurance policies read, they say wind and hail damage. So your roof may leak from the rain. However, if that water penetrated because of wind or hail, then you would have coverage under your insurance policy. If your water penetrated because your roof is just 25 years old or it's reaching its life expectancy, you're likely not going to receive coverage from your insurance policy. On my list, I want to talk about HVAC leaks. So your HVAC system does produce natural water and condensation. That's why you have a condensation line. And when we have weather like we have, a lot of times the system cannot keep out. Your pump may fail, your drain pans may overflow. There's different things that may happen. And in the event that you had a leak relating to a condensation line for your HVAC system, unless you have sewer or drain in your policy, you're likely not going to see coverage. Number 4, mold. There is no mold coverage on anyone's policy unless you carry an endorsement, which means if you happen to have any kind of claim that had a secondary issue with mold, unless you have that endorsement on the policy, and unless that mold came from a covered loss, you're not going to have coverage for mold. Second to last on our list, I'm talking about fences. So fences are considered separate structures under our homeowners policy. But what you want to pay attention to is on your policy, at least with farmers, and you may not have this on your policy, and if you don't, it's a red flag. But under farmers, you're going to see 3 different line items. For example, under farmers, we're looking at fences, carpet, and roof, and there is a valuation method next to it. And for example, you want to make sure you see replacement cost or replacement next to these valuation methods, because if you have actual cash value, this probably means you're not going to get very much from your insurance company. Where if you have replacement costs, that means they're going to replace these items. Last on my list, I want to touch on auto real quick. Any monsoon damage that happens to come about to our vehicle, as long as you have comprehensive coverage, you are golden. Anything under the sun that happens, whether it's flood, rain, lightning, a fallen tree, you name it, will be covered under your comprehensive policy on your comprehensive coverage on your auto policy. If you don't happen to have comprehensive coverage, you're kind of SOL. So you might want to look at that. As always, I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Stay safe out there, and I'm here to be your resource as always. So feel free to give me a call at 602-525-5665 or email me at cmcqueen@farmersagent.com. Remember to ask yourself, are you protected? We'll see you all next week.